Welcome to Dental All-Stars. I'm Eric Vickery, lead mastery coach at All-Star Dental Academy and president of Vickery Coaching. And I'm very excited today to interview our guest, Dr. Jerry Gray. We're going to be talking about what it takes to create a successful practice. And Dr. Gray graduated from the University of Iowa College of Dentistry in 1996. He then obtained a certificate in endodontics and master's degree from St. Louis University in 1998. So yes, he's an endodontist. He started an endodontic practice from scratch in Seattle metro area immediately upon graduation. And he did that. He worked in that office for about 5 years. And then you decided, you know what? I'm going to move back to my hometown in Rochester, Minnesota, right? And you bought a practice, an existing practice there in 2003, and you continue to do your practicing there. Is that correct, Dr. Gray?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. And you're married to Carrie, your beautiful wife of 33 years. You guys have 3 grown children. Does that sound about right?
It is. Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Well, welcome, Dr. Gray. I've been wanting to discuss this topic with you specifically, being an endodontist. And I really want to get your insight to help not only endodontists, but general dentists on just creating a successful practice. So this is a really, really broad topic. And there's a lot of ways that people can go about creating success. In my 21 years, we're similar on our timeline. You're 2 years ahead of me in your timeline. But, I started dentistry in 1998. And you graduated endodontics in 1998?
Yep.
Okay. So we're right there. We're neck and neck and where we started. And I've seen it done a lot of different ways. I've coached a lot of offices. So since 2001, I've been coaching and I've seen it done so many different ways. And you can do it left way, right way, it doesn't matter. And you can figure out a way to be successful. But when I look at your practice, I got to tell you, I'm blown away. I get to coach you and I get to look at your numbers. I get to see what, every month we go over everything. We talk about different ways to grow. And I'm very, very impressed. And so I want everyone to hear from you a bit of just your track record, how you got here, what you did to make it so successful. So it's kind of like a BC versus AD conversation here, but we're going to talk about COVID. So pre-COVID, post-COVID, right? So BC, before COVID, and PC, post-COVID. So before COVID, thinking about your practice, just give me some background, some things that you did to help you figure out, how do I create a successful endodontic practice? Real broad topic.
The great thing was coming out of school, I had started this practice from scratch, looked at numbers and figured out, okay, if I do so many a day, I can at least put food on the table way back when. And that took off. It was great. I just didn't want to be on the West Coast. And so we found a way back to the Midwest and things were great here for a number of years. And, you think you got it kind of figured out. And so I didn't listen to anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. And at a certain point, I knew I needed something. I was going to be an empty nester. And I thought, I need to do something to fill the extra time and might as well educate myself. So I actually initially started out, signed up for an MBA program through Washington State University. And it looked like a great program. It was a certain dollar amount and I could do all of it online. And I thought, well, I might as well get into the business aspect of endodontics and just know more about what's happening with numbers and all that kind of thing. Well, I made it about a week. The first class was international business, and I was in with all these people that had already been, regional vice president for Google or Nintendo or Microsoft and all this kind of thing. They've lived all over the world, and you get in a little cohort, little group, and you're supposed to do group projects. And after a week, I was like, this really isn't for me. It's too big. Maybe I should just tone it down and look for something that is going to satisfy more of my personal needs. And so I canned that idea, and then I started looking around, and I found a program that was designed just for endodontists. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there. There aren't very many for just endodontists. And I got hooked up with Ace Gorig at Endo Mastery, and kind of jumped in.
And let me say this, I'm sorry to interrupt. Ace has been on the podcast before. Ace has been on here. He talked about finances. Ace is amazing. So you found a guru for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was immediate. And the more you jump in, he has a program that covers all different life facets. There's back office, how to make you more efficient clinically in the chair, scheduling, office policies, and then it extends beyond that into your personal life and finances. And so I saw this thing for the same amount of money I was going to pay for this MBA program. I got this thing that actually made a difference within a month or two of when I started. So I jumped in, started his program, got a taste for coaching and other people having expertise that I didn't have, that I basically didn't want to admit that other people had. And because I heard of Ace back in the 90s, when I had my practice in Seattle, he was doing his thing, and I looked at some of these postcards, and I'd be like, oh, what is this guy going to teach me? I just got out of school. I'm running this practice. Things are good. I got money in the bank. Yeah. And so I throw the little postcards away. Yeah. Big mistake. I should have, been a little more humble back a long time ago. But he whet my appetite for, just expanding my knowledge base, changing things. I didn't have all the answers, and just being more of a humble spirit that could be taught. And, it really changed the trajectory of our practice. I mean, we had a great practice before that, what I thought. We were doing good. But I'd hit these, production limits. How are we going to do that extra one? How are you going to do that extra root canal day? And I could never get over it. And we would design things, so office manager and clinical staff, we'd go, how are we going to do this? And mentally, I couldn't do it until I got pushed. And then we got pushed, and honestly, things changed literally overnight.
So what's one take, you're giving us some of your story here. This is pre-COVID. So what's one takeaway? You're, 15 into your years in, 18 years into your career here. What's one takeaway from Endo Mastery? You're like, that changed my practice. What's just one concept? That you can change and live through it. And survive. Because the change is, it's difficult when you do the same thing for 15 years and you think you got it figured out, and somebody's saying, hey, you try this. You're like, but I'm comfortable in what I do. I always wanted to have that push, but in and of myself in my office, we didn't have enough momentum to push through it. But with the coaching and other expertise, that was what I needed to move to the next level. Absolutely. No, I love it. It's like what's on the other side of this could be scary, change is hard, whatever it is. It's a habit that I'm giving up. And the funny thing is you can always go back to doing it how you did it before the change if you don't like it. That's the funny part. And you're really tapping into my, being a coach or a life coach. We're offering life coaching now. It's one of those things that we love to be able, personal growth precedes professional growth. So when you think about it this way, you actually talking about the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. The only thing I changed was a fee increase every year. It's like, why can't I grow more? And recognize there's only two ways to grow a practice. In a dental practice, it's either more patients or more dentistry per patient. That's it. And so in endo, you're not going to do 4 endos on the same patient at the same time, I'm guessing. What's the most root canals you've done on one patient at the same time?
Oh gosh, I think 6.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Somebody busted all of their front teeth. And
emergency situation. I got you. Yeah. Okay. Exposed. I got you. That makes sense. So that's okay. So you could probably treat that patient more efficiently than you can 6 different individual root canals, right? So ideally you'd want to treat both teeth. If they're 2, 3 and 4 infected, you treat them both. That's one way you can grow a practice. The other is more patients. Well, in endo, you go, your frame of reference is I can only see so many patients a day. And then this is what it challenges in life coaching. You say, okay, here's the results I'm getting, right? Here's the results I get, and it never changes. And I'm not willing to change, but that result never. I want that result to change. I'm going to focus on the goal. Focus on the goal. The goal is more now, people. The goal is more. Let's focus on the goal. And the game's going on around you, and you're just watching the scoreboard. And you recognize my results come from something. They come from my actions that I take. Oh, actions. we need to be more efficient with the same actions we always take. Do it more efficiently or whatever it is. When really what's driving your action is belief. You believe something, therefore you act a certain way, therefore you get a result. Life coaching. This is life coaching 101. But you put it in leadership coaching, executive coaching, we show you your results, we show you your numbers and go, okay, here's what you're getting from what you've always done. You're always going to get the same thing. Why do you do it this way? Because you believe something. Now I got to challenge that belief to see if you're willing to change the action. It's not just changing the action, it's changing the belief that drives the action. It's the only way it makes it stick. And so your eyes were open to something different about change. You said, oh, I can change. I can do something different. It affected your belief. I love it. I love it. Have you read Atomic Habits by James Clear yet?
Yes, it's wonderful.
Great book.
Yep.
And in fact, what we're talking about are those little things that you do all the time the same way that make a big difference. And so are you willing to change those negative habits into positive habits to create impactful results? So highly recommend that book. Okay. So you go through Ace Gorig's program, Endo Mastery. You figure out, you know what? I do believe that I can do more with my time. I can be more efficient. I can be more effective. I can actually do more. What sort of change did that make in your practice? What sort of growth did you see?
Oh man, 50% increase in production in, 50% probably in 9 months.
Wow.
30 to 40% in a month.
Wow.
I mean, the goal was to get to 50%.
Yeah.
And that's what we actually scheduled. We didn't always get there, but to consistently get to that 50% increase was not that long.
Were you just sitting around before or what?
Well, it didn't seem like it, but then when you actually time yourself, and we had to do timings in the process. Yeah. And okay, how long does it take to do the consult, to get the person numb, put the dental dam on, to do the actual treatment, to get the people out the door? What are you doing during that time frame? And until you actually look at it, you don't really notice. I mean, it's kind of like a credit card statement. You think, oh, I didn't spend that much money, and then you look at all these $15 and $25 things, and it adds up to thousands. You're like, there's no way. It's the same thing with your time. Yeah, incremental, atomic habits, incremental increases, absolutely. So you took a good, successful practice and you made it great. You went from good to great. Couldn't be happier at this point in time. Okay. It's only gotten better since then. Awesome. Great. Well, I'm sure Ace, he probably doesn't listen to this podcast, but I'm sure he'd be thrilled to know that we're talking so great about him. He's such a humble guy. So, all right. We love Ace. So COVID comes around, something else before COVID or then COVID, and then you're doing things after COVID differently. What's changed to now take it to the next level? What's the next things that you've been doing? Yeah, so COVID hits, we have not a total shutdown for endo where we're at, but emergency only. Yeah. So there's a lot of people sitting at home. We have a lot of time, and you show up for 3 half days a week or whatever it was for a while, and we're looking for things for the rest of the staff to do. And I found All-Star Dental Academy and thought, well, if I can get more training, we might as well train our staff. We can always get better on the phone, treating people, customer service can never be, can always be improved. Yep. So I got hooked up with All-Star Dental Academy, had the staff and myself go through the phone scenario, customer service. Yep. Website, online training, all virtual type thing. Yeah. And then from that, there's a dental MBA in there. So this MBA thing always kind of intrigued me because that's what I wanted to do. From the beginning. Took you back to how you started. Yep. And so Alex Nottingham has this in there, and it starts out with mindset, all this kind of thing, which is awesome because I'm starting to realize that kind of thing. So the office is getting trained, I'm getting more training. And then, my eyes are open to, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of great things that I could utilize. And it's just unfolding. And so we do All-Star. Then, from that, it led to a mastermind that All-Star Dental Academy has. I saw Ace on one of the brochures. I thought, well, if it's good enough for Ace, it'd be good enough for me. So I joined that. And that's more of a participatory
Yeah.
scenario, which I was never into. I mean, I don't really do this type of thing. I'm more of a, stick to myself type guy. Who would want to listen to what I had to say was my mantra, basically. But then I got involved in the All-Star Dental Academy, and Alex is like, well, you have stuff to say.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to say. You have some meaningful things that other people could learn from. And it kind of woke me up a little bit. It's like, well, yeah, maybe I do know something that would be interesting to other people. So I got involved in that. From that, I got involved with you and Robin.
Oh yeah.
You coaching me,
yeah.
KPI, performance indicators, that kind of thing. And then Robin dealing with our front office staff as well. Then I got involved with another line of coaching, leadership coaching at our office, again through ACE's program. He had Dr. Joel Small from Line of Sight Coaching on one of our, biannual meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's biannual, every 6 months.
Yeah, twice a year, biannual.
Yeah. So we had one of those in October of 2020. He had a leadership guy on, and I bid on that too. Got involved with that. So they're helping us with our office culture.
Yeah.
So we're developing that over since COVID. On top of one-on-one coaching, they also have a cohort that meets together. So you got 8, 10, 12 endodontists or some general dentists in the group talking about office stuff and how do you deal with it, and how can you be more productive in your responses to those situations, because most of us just kind of blow up and then we're done and then we get mad and go home. And it's kind of more
repeat next day.
Exactly. And then he just came up with one for office managers. So your office manager can be getting trained in what you're getting trained in. And so I'm in these multiple different groups and trying to glean as much as I can. And my life has gotten much easier in all that. I mean, I spend a lot of time in these groups and learning things, but I do a lot less. I delegate a lot more. My staff seems happier because we have the installation of values in our office. So they bought into those. In fact, they came up with the values.
Yep.
I didn't come up with them. They came up with them. They had to sign on. So then when we have issues, we can just bring up, hey, we came up with this, you came up with this, and, are you living up to it, kind of thing. And they can do the same thing to me. You're not living up to this. Let's shape up.
Refocus. Well, let me just say something. You just rattled off, I was typing all these things. You rattled off a lot of stuff. So I'm thinking someone listening to this is saying, well, how do you have time to do all these different things? When are you doing your dentistry?
Yeah, it is. Right now I work 3.5 days a week. I got an associate about a year ago. Right after the associate started, I take Wednesday afternoons and do a lot of this kind of thing. But it's still, sometimes Monday, Tuesday nights, Friday mornings, Saturdays.
You're investing in yourself, which is investing in your business, and you're seeing return on that.
Exactly.
So let's do the same thing, like we said, pre-COVID. So post-COVID, what's one thing your team, now this be a stretch because you're not the team, so you're gonna have to think on behalf of them, okay? So what's one thing you would say you saw your team, you went, wow, from all-star training, online training, they did this so much better now. Just something simple that they're making a difference in the business, and you saw an improvement and you went, okay, that's return on investment right there.
I think that they take much more ownership, at least the front office, much more ownership of all the activities that happen up there. I mean, it really has been a great experience that, people aren't running to me all the time. Go, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? We've set up systems, and they have the power to make certain decisions. They have some autonomy within certain parameters to do things, kind of like Ritz-Carlton. I don't know what the number is, but any employee has the ability to waive $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is. My people don't have that kind of autonomy or power, but they have some, and they can do some certain things and don't have to run to me all the time. So that's probably the main thing that I've seen, is that they've helped the practice, being able to take those reins and do it themselves. And on top of that, then I think I see them being more satisfied with their job and their place in life, because they have that increased autonomy.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I love hearing that. That's so good. Now, you mentioned the mastermind group, and I think we met in the mastermind group first before we started coaching, right? Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
So besides me, what's something great you got from the mastermind meeting that you were like, okay, this made it valuable for me. I can take that back to my practice and take that into my life, and I can do something different. Gives people that are listening to this something that they can take away from it and go, oh, wow, that's a great idea. You think of anything? I'm gonna stump you here, huh?
There are a ton of things. I mean, we talk a lot about personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the main thing that we have to keep in mind, that other people process differently than we do. Because in years past, I would come home to my wife and we'd have some staff issue, and the staff would go, well, you didn't talk to me in this way that I want to be talked to. And I remember sitting across the kitchen table going, how can I be this person? I'm me. They want me to be this person, this person, this person, this person. And I can only be me. And I held on to that for years. And with some of this training and, disc personalities, Enneagrams, all this kind of thing, different modes to figure out, where other people are coming from. You got to take who you are and then adjust that to who they are. And then they're going to hear it. They're going to be, jump on board way faster. I can't expect everybody to respond the way that I want to put it out there.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Adaptation in your natural behavior style allows you to be more effective in your communication with them. Yeah. We spent some time talking about DISC on one of the masterminds. That's right. Yeah. 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 I love our mastermind group. I love that we got to do a retreat and go with each other. And gosh, what a great group of minds that you just get to learn from. I love rubbing shoulders. That's so good. All right. Then you started doing team coaching. So you're like, well, I already have online all-star. Why do team coaching with Robin? What's the feedback from your team on working with Robin right now on team training and coaching and that sort of thing?
I think they love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it pushes them a bit because there's also the, grading of phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
They actually get graded. And I've tried to stress to my staff, root canal, every root canal we do, we look at the x-ray and we go, okay, how are we going to grade this?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell the staff that they're in the same thing. I mean, if I get graded, you get graded, this is a equal opportunity grading situation. I don't know how much they love it, but I think they can see the value, and it's kind of scary for some of them. But from what I know, now we're gonna move into another whole realm with some changes that, with insurance that we may talk about and all that kind of thing, that the verbiage and wording is going to get even more important for us. And I think that's what's going to be the next hurdle. Yeah.
Confidence creates competence. Right? Let me put it this way. You need credibility from your patient standpoint, from your first referral source standpoint, but they don't get to talk to you. So how do they know how competent you are? So they're talking to your team, and your team has to come across credible. And you do that through they build confidence in your competence. The patient goes, wow, they really know what they're talking about on the phone. I want to go see, he must be a great endodontist. That's the reflection. That's what creates trust, rapport, credibility, and case acceptance. So absolutely love that they're loving it with Robin, and she's challenging them, getting them to stretch. I love coaching teams. It's one of those things where they look at you like they're nervous at first, but then they get more and more used to you, and they know that it's a safe place and a great place to grow and challenge. So, and then you mentioned KPI coaching. What is KPI coaching to you? What you and I are doing? What is that?
Well, I've never really looked at numbers before. Mm-hmm. And that was part of the thing with the whole MBA to begin with. I want to know what the numbers were. I know what I produce, how many root canals a day, and I know that there's money in the bank account. And for years, I was fine with that. And then I met you, and initially you're like, okay, well, you do good numbers, but what about this whole column right here? I'm like,
what was that column?
that column was write-offs for insurance.
Whoops.
And you really slapped me in the face. I think it was either the first meeting or second meeting. I think it was the first meeting you brought it up that I thought about, and then you really hit it hard the second meeting. And you're like, you are writing off a ton of money. And I knew it was a lot per root canal that we did for people that had that insurance, but I didn't realize how much it was over a period of time.
That's just like the Atomic Habits, all the little things incremental. Like you said, the little credit card bill, $15 here, whatever it was. Yeah. Percentage was, because you produce so much, the write-off looked even bigger on an annual basis. We looked at it annually and both of us went, wow, that's a lot of money. Why do we need to do that? Why? And that's not why we got into key performance indicator coaching. That's not why we got into it. We got into it so you could learn the numbers, so you can figure out, okay, what am I doing? How am I performing business, run my business, MBA stuff. But when we found a nugget it's gonna be a good payday. It's gonna be really, really good for you.
Well, when I have to admit, it's not the easiest thing to deal with. I can honestly admit, every time I would talk to you, and I've heard some of your other podcasts, every time I would talk to you or listen to those, I'd be like, we're quitting tomorrow. Not quitting, resigning from insurance.
Oh, Hercules, yes.
But it's a difficult hurdle, and it took how long was it? 8 months?
I want to say, yeah. I mean, we were spring of 21, and we started looking at numbers. And by June, I was going, hey, well, and I think one insurance, you immediately were like, yeah, we got to do that one. That's gonna be a no-brainer. We went through analysis. We did our homework, so it took some time to put insulators in place and make sure you felt comfortable with it. But it was really almost a mindset for you on making that change. Yeah, it was like belief that you can do this, and then it's not going to destroy you. And what's funny is the math is simple, and you've heard me say it on other podcasts. If you take the number of patients you have, let's say you have 100 patients in that insurance plan, right? And you only had 2, right? You only had 2. Can we talk about those insurance plans? Is it okay if we talk about those specific names of those insurance plans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I think MetLife was one, right?
Yep.
And then Delta was the other. And as a specialist, we found out you can't be just Premier. You have to be PPO and Premier, which basically means you're PPO.
Which I didn't even know any of that stuff existed until you told me.
Yeah. We had to go through a process to figure all this out. The funny thing is with the MetLife resignation and getting prepared for these things, we recognize, wow, the money that you're going to that's going to show up on the other end, it's going to be crazy. So if you had 100 I don't know what it was, whatever percentage, we were like, okay, how many referrals do we get? And that sort of thing. It's different than a GP, but whatever that percentage of write-off is, if you're writing off 30%, you could lose 30% of those referrals, and the 70% who stay paying 30% more make up for it. And you're already having a busy problem. You're already saying to me, I'd like to work a half a day less and make the same amount of money. Okay, let's do that. Is that a good summation of what we did?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're right in the thick of it. We're right in the middle of it. And it's going to be a big payday from not just like, oh, money, but just like, oh my gosh, it feels so much better. Not feel like I'm being taken advantage of by an insurance company. Right.
I've gotten to that point. I felt taken advantage of before.
Yeah.
A little bit, a year ago, a lot right when you brought up these numbers. And now, it's going to feel really good that when that's done, because I've submitted the paperwork. I have a resignation date. I'm not there yet. So now we just have to get trained up to deal with that next step.
So what Robin and I'm talking to you and Robin's talking to the team about is how to let the patient know you're welcome here. Your insurance works here. We're going to take great care of you and still be out of network and have it be a win-win for the patient and you. And I think being a specialist, honestly, you actually have a bit easier than a GP. I don't know if I ever said that to you, but I think it is easier for you. Yeah.
You let me know that.
All All right. Awesome. Well, I love our coaching calls. I love getting to see your numbers. I'm very excited. I'm very competitive and I want to see the results show up. I want to see what sort of difference we make in the practice. And so I know we're right in the thick of it right now, but it's going to be great. Maybe we'll come back and do this again in 6 months and share with everybody what sort of difference you've seen in percentage of growth. That way it's not dollars. We're not talking dollars, we're talking about percentage of growth and collections. Does that sound fair?
Sounds wonderful.
All right. Awesome. Anything else you want to share with everyone on something you've done, a book you've read, anything that you feel like, okay, this I can really say change my practice besides ACE and All-Star and coaching and leadership training and culture?
Not a book per se.
Yeah.
But philosophy, getting out of debt has been a big deal. I'm not quite there.
Yeah.
I just paid off my office building last week.
Yeah.
Got a note from my banker to say, let's have lunch.
Nice.
Paid it off.
Congratulations.
I still have part of the home to do,
Yeah.
but it's feeling good.
Yeah. It's funny. That's what Ace talked about in episode whatever of the podcast, a year ago. He's talking about debt reduction and the amount of return on investment you're actually getting by paying off that debt, because it creates cash flow for you to do something else with it. Have your money working for you, not working for someone else in the bank. So yeah, I think that I would echo that. Yeah. Debt snowball is a great system to use. And so, All-Star is here, obviously, for you guys. ACE is there for you. Dr. Gray, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really, really appreciate it. I know people that are listening are going to say, oh, that's a great idea. I love hearing that. And it's going to hopefully help motivate them to move into a more belief in oneself to make some positive changes, if you know what I mean. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Yeah. So those listening, that we're here to help you. All-Star can help you with any of the things we've been talking about today. Just email heather@allstardentalacademy.com. Continue to follow the podcast. Share this with somebody you think could really listen to it. Maybe you're a general dentist listening and you're like, my endodontist can hear this, should hear this. Forward it to them, send it to them. We just want people to feel blessed and see improvement in their practice from listening to this sort of thing. We hope you got some good coaching out of it. And so thank you for joining us and listening and taking the time to invest in yourself. And until next time, go out there and be an all-star.